Hello, good day, all. It's always beautiful to have us together, discussing science. And I'm happy that we're back discussing this. Now, today we're just going to talk about plants and plant classification. I want to discuss a bit about plants and then their classification because I got a lot of messages that students, want to know more about plants. So, what do we know about plants? Plants are unique organisms. They are found, in very large. They are one of the largest number of organisms that exist, and they affect the ecosystem very seriously because they're engaged in quite a number of activities. And plants are unique. They are members of the kingdom we call Plantae, and they are unique because one, they are autotrophic in nature, meaning that they're able to prepare, they're able to generate or synthesize their own food by themselves, which they also store in the form of starch, glucose, and then later starch. And then they also engage in photosynthesis, which is the process where plants are able to, trap energy from the sunlight and then use this energy in conjunction with CO2 and H2O and use it to produce this starch and glucose. So this makes plants to be very, very really unique in what they do. Now they are important because of their role as producers. If you look at any food web or any food chain, you find that the plants are at the base of this food chain or food web because they have a lot of energy. They have a lot of stored energy, which can then be transmitted to the more upper parts or more senior parts of the food web or food chain, making them very unique and very important. Now, there are about four characteristics that we'll look at, which are the characteristics of plants, and then we'll discuss it. Number one is that they involve in photosynthesis and autotrophy. So we've already said this before. So they're able to generate their own food by themselves using the process of photosynthesis. They trap sunlight, and then they have chlorophylls, which are pigments that are present in an organelle that we refer to as the chloroplast. Chlorophyll are of two types, chlorophyll A and B, and then they trap this energy and then they use up this energy and use it to, produce their own food, which they later store and use up as slowly and as possible whenever they need this energy store. So this is important to note. Second characteristic of plants is that they have a cell structure that has cellulose, they have large vacuoles, they have chloroplast, they have chlorophyll. And these are important structures. They have cellulose. Cellulose is an important plant structure which helps to give the cell of the plant strength, rigidity, and durability so that it's able to withstand a lot of pressure. And then they also have cell walls that have this structure. Then they also have large vacuoles, which are usually full of water. And then these large vacuoles are used to regulate, the flow of water in and out of the plant cell. Plant cell also has other structures that are important. It has chloroplast, which is the organelle that carries chlorophyll, which is the pigment. So these are structures that are unique to the plants. Now, when it comes to reproduction, also plants are unique because they can engage in either sexual or asexual reproduction. Now, if they engage in sexual reproduction, they usually do this by production of seeds and spores, and this is unique to plants too, especially the spermatophyta. Now, they can also engage in asexual reproduction, as you have in budding, grafting, and every other form of vegetative propagation. So, like you are cutting seeds of cassava to use to put back into the soil in order to grow cassava. So these are all different forms of asexual reproduction that plants do engage in. Now, it's also important to note that plants grow continuously. There's no end or no stop to the growth of plants. They continue to grow over time, and then they just keep growing till when they die. So this is a unique feature that plants have. Now we'll end this by just discussing about the classification of plants. Broadly, you have plants being classified into four major broad groups. And these four major broad groups are the thallophytes or thallophytes, the bryophytes, the pteridophytes, and the spermatophytes. Now, the thallophytes are the most primitive of the plants. Their examples are our algae. They're the most primitive. You have red algae, brown algae, and green algae. So they are the most primitive stage or level of our plants. Then from the thallophyta, we have the bryophytes, and these ones are the liverworts and the mosses. So from there, we also move on to the pteridophytes, which are the ferns. Before we move to the most complex group, which we refer to as the spermatophyta. And in the spermatophyta, we have our angiosperms and our gymnosperms. And under our angiosperms, we have our monocots and dicots. So we'll still go, we'll do another video after this where we'll discuss all the classification of all the different groups of plants, in details and what makes them unique. So thank you for listening to this. I hope you gained one or two things. Look forward to the video where we'll discuss all the different classifications of plants and what the different members of these groups are. Thank you for listening to this. Remember to subscribe, like our content, and do have a blessed day.